Um, for those people who are paying attention, it's been obvious for some time that Florida's maggot governor Ron DeSantis is aggressive with book bans because he would just prefer if kids didn't read books at all. So while it's infuriating, and it's not surprising to read that the investigative journalism team at Popular Info had discovered that the teachers in Manatee County, Florida, were told that every book on their shelves was banned until otherwise notified. Um, Failure to lock up all their books until they could be vetted by censors, teachers were warned, put them at risk of being prosecuted as felons, which is horseshit. Now, the facts of this situation are straightforward. A Florida law signed by DeSantis requires that every book available to students must be selected by a school district employee who holds a valid educational media specialist certificate. Now, in most cases, that would be the school librarian. This may sound reasonable on some surface, but as the situation in Manatee County shows, in reality, it's about creating a bottleneck. It's about creating a bottleneck, preventing books from getting into the hands of students. But even more importantly, it's about establishing the idea that books are inherently dangerous objects, which they're not, and to the degree that no student should be allowed to handle one without heavy-handed surveillance. Now, moreover, even if the librarians in Florida are not themselves interested in being the reading police, they may feel that they have no fucking choice. DeSantis has made it clear what kinds of ideas he believes should be banned in the state of Florida. He, he doesn't want schools to acknowledge that the LGBTQ people exist at all. He's banned the teaching of black history classes on the grounds that lessons on people like Frederick Douglass and Rosa Parks, for instance, have no educational value, which technically Frederick Douglass and Rosa Parks do have educational value. He's been forcing schools to teach a lie that racism is not the cause of racial inequality, and with that level of pressure, it is no surprise that schools would simply err on the side of having few, if any, books available. If books return to the shelves, they may likely be heavily limited. They may be heavily limited to those that portray the world like it's a 1950s fucking sitcom, which pretty much guarantees that they'll go unread, as such themes hold little interest to kids in the 21st century America. When it comes to keeping kids from reading much, if at all, DeSantis' policy is a smashing success. He's established the idea that no student should ever be allowed to grab a book and read on their own. He stigmatized basic curiosity. Big Brother must always be watching, a reference that kids probably wouldn't get if 1984 is no longer a book readers can just pick up. Now, Popular Info's head, Judd Legum, saw his tweets on this subject go viral this week, but since Twitter is now owned by right-wing troll Elon Musk, it is no surprise that the company decided to attach a community note that downplays how extensive the Florida censorship is. But the community note, which read only unvetted books will be removed, is misleading to the point of being an outright lie. As Legum noted in his follow-up, since all the books are unvetted, all the books were removed. Teachers in Manatee County have been told to remove all books from their classroom libraries. Now, on Monday, for example, teachers at a Bayshore High School in Manatee County received the following message: remove or cover all classroom libraries until all materials can be reviewed. As Legum noted in a follow-up, this isn't limited to this one country. In Duval, a principal warned teachers that allowing students to read books could result in felony prosecution, as I stated earlier. Horseshit, because possession of a book should not be a felony. The language of vetting and whatnot is put in place by DeSantis and his allies to create just a misleading debate about the nature of censorship. As with the draconian Don't Say Gay law, the policies are written in such a vague way that defenders can pretend that they're limited in scope while in fact enforcement is fucking broad. Defenders pretended that the Don't Say Gay law merely blocked instruction, as if they were teachers given hotaus and blowjobs. In reality, the word instruction is so vague that students and teachers feel that they have an error on the side of pretending everyone is straight, lest they get accused of instructing kids about how to live queer lives. A similar game is being played with the vetting language. Book ban supporters can claim that they're not banning books because, in theory, books can be vetted and restored to the shelves. But of course, this is how all book bans throughout time have worked. They rarely, if ever, cover all the books all the time. But even when books are finally released to potential readers under a ban first, ask questions later system, the message is fucking sent. Books are presumed inherently dangerous even if they're not. Now, instead of being glad that a child is reading a book, the system treats every child with a book as suspicious. Policies like this have a ripple effect, recasting reading not as a social good, but a threat to be strictly regulated. Now, even the service defenses of book bans are disgusting, of course. Accusations that kids are being groomed by reading books with LGBTQ characters imply that queer identities would disappear if they weren't acknowledged, and also that would be a good thing. Two repugnant arguments. But there's an even deeper reason that book bans are such a mainstay of authoritarian politics. Now, even as the ideals being suppressed shift from regime to regime, authoritarians hate reading for the same reason that they hate sex or any private behavior that allows people to experience thoughts and feelings outside of the authoritarian's control. Now, learning to sit quietly and read by yourself is for most people the first step towards being able to sit with your own thoughts. It's crucial for learning to think for yourself, but there's a reason most teachers like to have a wide array of books in hand, giving kids the freedom to read on their own. It's how kids develop other skills like critical thinking and creativity. Now, of course, all that is exactly what the Satanist is afraid of. He may occasionally make noises about freedom, but his actions speak clearly of his own goal, which is to turn Florida students into a bunch of unthinking, retarded idiots. Now, this is a man who released an ad where he bragged about teaching his young child to parent to build the wall after all. He's never hidden his loathing for education and his preference for indoctrination. Now, books are being banned en masse and on Florida schools. That's not an accident or a side effect, but that's always very much by the Satanist's design. Now, like for me, I love to read. The Satanist does not. So basically, I will always read something, and I'm like, for me, I have a whole bunch of books. So me having books is not a felony, even though he wants to make it that. Now, but if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube, and for just a little as a few bucks a month. Your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.